There's an unsettling thrill in found footage, a rawness, an unflinching look into moments that were never meant to be seen. Today, we delve into a collection of tapes that have sent chills down the spines of everyone who's dared to watch them. Tapes marked Project Iris. These tapes, recovered from a place known only as the Backrooms, chronicle the terrifying fate of those who dared to venture into its depths. These are the stories of Project Iris. Imagine this. You're walking, minding your own business, when suddenly, you clip through reality. The world around you dissolves into an endless maze of empty yellow hallways. The air hums with the drone of fluorescent lights, and a sense of wrongness permeates everything. Congratulations, you've just stumbled into the Backrooms. Some whisper of entities, creatures that stalk the corridors, drawn to the fear of the lost. The Backrooms are a place of nightmares made real, a labyrinth of lost souls and forgotten realities. Project Iris was an attempt to understand this place, to map its boundaries and uncover its secrets. A team of researchers, armed with experimental technology, ventured into the Backrooms, determined to shed light on its mysteries. They sent in drones, equipped with cameras and sensors, hoping to map the endless hallways. They sent in soldiers, clad in protective gear, tasked with collecting samples and establishing a foothold. Their footage, recovered after their disappearance, reveals the true horror of the Backrooms.
Field Test 42, Dr. Keel states, his voice flat, devoid of hope. Subject, Private First Class Mitchell, Project Iris.
The tape crackles, revealing a sterile observation room. The date, September 19, 1990, flickers in the corner. Dr. Keel addresses the camera, his face etched with exhaustion. Behind him, a young soldier outfitted in a modified hazmat suit stands rigidly. This is Private First Class Mitchell, the man chosen for a one-way ticket into the abyss.
The mission, deploy the Iris drone into Sector D7 of the Backrooms. Their objective, locate the source of a mysterious signal designated 7C14.
The air crackles with energy. All right, I'm in. Iris is active. Beginning search pattern. Mitchell, his breath shallow and rapid, steps towards a shimmering portal designated Threshold B. It shimmers and pulses, a tear in the fabric of reality, a gateway to a realm where the laws of physics bow to the whims of something far more sinister. He disappears into the portal, the camera momentarily engulfed in static. When the image stabilizes, Mitchell is alone, swallowed by a sea of monotonous yellow, the air thick with the hum of fluorescent lights. The Iris drone, a beacon of blinking red in the unending yellow, floats beside him, its lens whirring, mapping this desolate landscape. Every fiber of Mitchell's being screams at him to turn back, to flee this place of oppressive silence and unsettling light. But something keeps him rooted to the spot. Drone's acting weird. Got some interference. Something's pulling GPS off grid. The monotony of the Backrooms is broken only by the drone's rhythmic beeps and the crunch of Mitchell's boots on the threadbare carpet. But something is wrong. The drone, once a beacon of stability, begins to spin erratically, its lights blinking in a frantic Morse code of fear.
Continue. Signal 7C14 is close. Drone must stay on.
The familiar comfort of technology, of a connection to the world he left behind, is fading, replaced by a growing sense of dread. Control. Their words offer little comfort in this place where the laws of physics seem to bend and break at will. Mitchell, his hand never straying far from the weapon at his side, pushes forward. The hum of the fluorescent lights intensifies, a chorus of buzzing that grates on his nerves, amplifying the sense of wrongness that permeates this place. The Backrooms are toying with him, testing his resolve, pushing him closer to the breaking point. Drone's dead, I'm proceeding. The drone's beeping intensifies, pulling Mitchell down a seemingly endless corridor. Just when the monotony threatens to consume him, a glimmer of hope. Or is it a cruel trick of the light? At the end of the hallway, a black door stands out against the monotonous yellow. An anomaly in a place defined by its lack of distinction. But something about the door feels wrong. It seems to shimmer, its edges blurring like a mirage. The drone, as if sensing the danger, emits a deep mournful tone, almost a human moan of despair. Then silence. The drone falls to the ground, its lights extinguished, its lifeblood drained by whatever lurks behind that ominous portal. He knows the risks. He knows he should retreat, but something compels him forward. The mission? Or a morbid curiosity about what lies beyond the veil of reality? He reaches for the doorknob, the metal cold and slick against his gloved hand. With a deep breath he throws open the door and the camera plunges into darkness.
The camera flickers back to life, disgorging me into a world of unending yellow. The buzzing of the fluorescent lights is deafening, a constant grating hum that seems to vibrate the very air I breathe.
Disorientation washes over Mitchell. Every direction he turns reveals the same monotonous pattern. Yellowed wallpaper, stained and peeling, stretching as far as the eye can see.
I run my gloved hand along the wall, the dampness sending a shiver down my spine. The wallpaper is rough beneath my fingertips like the skin of some monstrous reptile. A sense of claustrophobia washes over me, the endless expanse of yellow pressing in on me, suffocating me.
Mitchell flicks on his flashlight, the beam cutting a meager path through the oppressive gloom.
The buzzing of the lights seems to intensify, morphing into a low, rhythmic thrumming that seems to emanate from the very walls themselves. I stop, holding my breath, listening.
A faint whispering just at the edge of hearing filters through the oppressive silence. Mitchell presses his ear against the wall, the dampness cold against his skin.
Whispering, distorted and unintelligible.
The whispering intensifies, a chorus of voices distorted and garbled, speaking in a language he can't understand.
I stumble back from the wall, my heart pounding in my chest. The whispers follow me, echoing in my ears, burrowing into my mind.
He pushes onward, his pace quickening, his eyes darting from side to side, searching for the source of the whispers. The monotonous yellow begins to warp and shift before his eyes, the boundaries between walls and floor blurring. The buzzing of the lights intensifies, a high-pitched whine that sets his teeth on edge, a constant assault on his senses.
I stumble, my senses overloaded, the very fabric of reality unraveling around me. I close my eyes, trying to shut out the sensory overload, but the buzzing, the whispering, the oppressive yellowness seep into my mind, a relentless assault on my sanity.
Mitchell collapses to his knees, his head in his hands, trying to block out the maddening stimuli.
I dig my fingers into the threadbare carpet, trying to ground myself, to find something real, something tangible in this sea of madness. Time loses all meaning. Minutes stretch into hours, or perhaps it's the other way around. My watch, the hands seem to spin backward, time flowing in reverse, mocking my attempts to impose order on this chaotic realm. My body screams for rest, but I don't dare close my eyes, fearing what nightmares might await me in the darkness. I know, with a chilling certainty, that if I surrender to sleep, I'll be lost forever in this labyrinth of endless yellow. I press onward, driven by a desperate hope of escape, but the back rooms seem to stretch on forever, an endless repetition of yellow walls and flickering lights. I'm a rat in a maze, a prisoner in my own mind, trapped in a nightmare with no end. I catch a glimpse of my reflection in a stained mirror, and I barely recognize the haggard, haunted face staring back at me. The iris drone, its once steady light now flickering erratically, emits a series of high-pitched beeps,
a frantic warning that cuts through the oppressive silence. It darts back and forth, its lens whirling as if searching for something, its movements mirroring my growing sense of panic. I reach out to the drone, drawn to its light, its familiar presence, a beacon of hope in this desolate landscape. But as I reach for it, it jerks away as if recoiling from my touch. It hovers in midair, its lens focused on a specific point on the wall, a look of almost human fear in its blinking lights. It's trying to warn me, to show me something, but what? My fingers brush against the wall, the damp wallpaper sending a shiver crawling up my arm. The drone's frantic beeping echoes in the vast emptiness, its lens fixated on a seemingly unremarkable patch of yellow. It was the same monotonous pattern I'd seen for what felt like an eternity, but the drone's insistent focus suggested something more sinister lurked beneath the surface. I leaned closer, my breath fogging in the stale air. There, in the seemingly endless expanse of yellow, a subtle distortion catches my eye. A section of the wall no larger than my hand pulses with a rhythmic regularity, a heartbeat beneath the skin of this place. Fear, primal and instinctive, urges me to turn and run, but a morbid curiosity, a need to understand the madness encroaching upon me, keeps me rooted to the spot. The drone's frantic warning went unheeded. Curiosity, that insatiable hunger for knowledge, had me in its grasp. He pressed his ear against the wall, the rhythmic throbbing vibrating against his skull. A low hum, barely audible at first, emanated from the very core of the wall, winding its way into his consciousness. Then the whispers began. They were faint at first, like voices carried on a distant wind, but as the seconds ticked by, they grew louder, more insistent, morphing into a cacophony of whispers that clawed at the edges of his sanity. I stumbled back, my hands flying to my ears in a futile attempt to block out the insidious whispers that now seemed to claw at the very fabric of my mind. But the voices followed, echoing in the cavernous emptiness, weaving their way into his thoughts, planting seeds of madness that blossomed with terrifying speed. I spun around, my heart pounding against my ribs, my eyes desperately searching for the source of the whispers. They seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere at once, the walls themselves alive with the sound of 1,000 tormented souls. Then he saw it. A face formed from the swirling patterns of the yellowed wallpaper stared back at me. It was a grotesque mockery of human features, its eyes vacant and hollow, its mouth stretched into a silent scream. It pulsated with the rhythm of the whispers, its lips moving as if mouthing words I couldn't hear but could feel burrowing into my mind. He stumbled back, his breath catching in his throat, his mind reeling from the sheer horror of it all. The face, a manifestation of the Backrooms' malevolent sentience, followed his every move, its vacant eyes boring into his soul. The whispers intensified, a chorus of madness urging him closer to the abyss. He couldn't take it anymore. With a strangled cry, I turned and ran, my mind teetering on the precipice of sanity. The camera, a dispassionate observer to his descent into madness, bounced erratically, capturing fleeting glimpses of his desperate flight. The endless corridors stretched before him, a labyrinth designed to break his spirit. The walls seemed to close in, the yellow wallpaper a suffocating presence, the buzzing of the lights a constant reminder of his imprisonment. I tripped and fell, my body racked with sobs, my mind awash in the insidious whispers that had become my only companions in this desolate realm. I was lost, adrift in a sea of madness, the boundaries between reality and nightmare blurring with every passing second. The camera, lying on its side, captured a final glimpse of Mitchell's terrified face, his eyes reflecting the utter despair of his situation, before the image mercifully faded to black.
Static. Then the faint hum of the Iris drone, its rhythmic beeping a jarring counterpoint to the oppressive silence that had descended.
When the image flickered back to life, it was the drone that filled the frame, its single lens seemingly focused on the camera lens, as if peering directly into the soul of whoever dared to watch.
The drone's red light pulsed ominously, and for a moment, Mitchell could have sworn he heard a faint whisper, thin and reedy, emanating from its metallic core.
It was a warning, he realized, a chilling whisper from the depths of the Backrooms, carried on the back of his only companion.
Then, with a final, mournful beep, the drone spun on its axis and disappeared down a nearby corridor, its red light swallowed by the oppressive darkness.
Mitchell was alone, truly alone, in a place where even machines seemed to possess a chilling sentience, a place that whispered back. Darkness, absolute impenetrable darkness. The camera struggled to adjust, its lens a useless eye in this lightless realm. Mitchell's panicked breaths echoed in the silence, a stark reminder that he was not alone. The air hung heavy, thick with the stench of decay and the metallic tang of blood. He fumbled for his flashlight, his fingers trembling as he flicked the switch. The beam, a meager defense against the oppressive darkness, cut through the void, revealing nothing. Or so it seemed. As his eyes adjusted, Mitchell began to discern shapes in the darkness, tall, thin figures that seemed to defy the laws of physics. They stood motionless, arranged in a haphazard circle around him, their forms barely discernible in the weak beam of his flashlight. Section 3. The Silent Figures. He slowly panned his flashlight across the assembled figures, his blood turning to ice with each passing second. They were humanoid in form, but grotesquely elongated, their limbs stretched and twisted, their torsos impossibly thin. Their heads, if they could be called that, were featureless, smooth ovals that seemed to absorb the light. They stood eerily still, like statues carved from some alien marble, their surfaces smooth and featureless, as if sculpted from a single piece of porcelain. No eyes, no mouths, no indication of life, yet Mitchell could feel their presence, a palpable weight that pressed down on him, suffocating him. Hello, is anyone there? The figures didn't move, didn't react. They simply stood there, their silence more terrifying than any scream, their very presence a tangible manifestation of the Backroom's malevolence. Section 4. A glimpse of the Predator. A flicker of movement at the edge of his vision sent a jolt of adrenaline through Mitchell's system. He whipped the flashlight beam around, his heart pounding against his ribs, his breath catching in his throat. For a split second he saw it. 2 points of light, large and luminescent, stared back at him from the darkness. They were eyes, he realized, but eyes unlike any he had ever seen before. They pulsed with an unnatural light, a cold, predatory hunger that sent shivers down his spine. Then, as quickly as they had appeared, the eyes were gone, vanished back into the suffocating darkness. Mitchell stood frozen, his flashlight beam trembling in his hand, his mind struggling to comprehend the horror he had just witnessed. Section 5. There is no escape. Panic surged through him, a tidal wave of terror that threatened to drown him. He had to get out of there, had to escape this nightmare. He spun around, searching for the black door, his only way back to the relative safety of the endless yellow corridors. But the door was gone. He was surrounded, trapped in this lightless void with the silent figures and the unseen predator. The air grew colder, the stench of decay more overpowering. He could feel the Backrooms closing in on him, a tightening fist of terror that threatened to crush the last vestiges of his sanity. The flashlight slipped from his grasp, clattering to the ground, its beam casting long, grotesque shadows that danced across the silent figures. Mitchell slid down the wall, his body racked with sobs. his mind teetering on the precipice of madness. The camera, its lens pointed at the ceiling, captured a final distorted image of the silent figures before the screen mercifully faded to black. Section 1, back into the labyrinth, the black door, it's gone, vanished. I'm back in the endless corridors, but something's different, something's terribly wrong. My heart, it's pounding like a drum. The whispers, they're gone. Now it's just silence, a suffocating blanket of dread. I can't see anything, but I feel it. I'm being hunted, stalked, alone, but not really. I can't outrun it, not here. The back rooms, they're designed to break you. I'm running out of time, out of options, out of hope. Section 2, the chase begins. What was that? A growl? It's not a sound from this world. Feels ancient, like it's always been here. No, the hallway. It's empty, just shadows. Tricks of the mind. I'm losing it. Footsteps. Heavy, deliberate, not human. Oh God, no, the rhythm. It's wrong, so wrong. Gotta move now. Section 3, a hound from hell. No, it's massive, grotesque, moving so fast, claws scraping, each stride like thunder. Its head, those eyes, glowing teeth, snarling, it's mocking me. Not of this world, born from the backroom's darkness, control, extraction now. I'm being followed, things fast, it's the growl, tearing through reality, violence imminent, the lens, capturing its lunge, eyes, cold, predatory hunger.
Through the looking glass?
Static. The hum of the Iris drone, it's beeping a jarring counterpoint to the silence. The camera captures a distorted hallway view. The drone's red light pulses, its lens focused on the viewer. You brought it here. The drone spins and disappears into the darkness. The footage ends abruptly, leaving only the haunting static of a dead camera. Mitchell's fate remains unknown, lost to the unforgiving labyrinth of the backrooms. Did he outrun the creature, finding a temporary reprieve in the endless yellow corridors? Or did he become another victim, his scream swallowed by the oppressive silence? Dr. Keel watches in horror as the footage cuts out. The weight of Mitchell's disappearance hangs heavy, the silence punctuated by the hum of machinery. The backrooms guard their secrets closely, and Mitchell is gone. The doorway to Threshold B stands empty, a silent testament to the backroom's insatiable hunger. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months. The search for Mitchell is officially suspended, but the nightmare is far from over. 1 month later, a black, shimmering door materializes. Panic ensues. Researchers, pale with dread, approach cautiously. Their instruments buzz with nonsensical readings. The backrooms have breached the veil. The door stands open, a silent invitation to madness. The Iris drone, recovered from the backrooms after Mitchell's disappearance, sits inert on a table in the observation room. Its lens flickers with a faint red glow, as if something within its metallic shell is struggling to awaken. Every night at precisely 3:14 a.m., the drone activates. Its red light pulses, casting long, unsettling shadows across the room. The buzzing intensifies, morphing into a low, guttural hum that sends chills down the spines of the researchers. The drone remains unresponsive, its only communication a series of distorted whispers. The Iris drone, a silent sentinel from a realm beyond human understanding, serves as a chilling reminder that the backrooms are always watching.